The film starts in a post-apocalyptic world where a man walks around in a sandstorm while wearing a protection suit. He's searching for preserved food items inside a supermarket and finds some cans of dog food. That's when he hears a sound and he hides behind an aisle, but it's only the wind blowing some rusted roof panel. So he leaves the supermarket after marking it and goes back to his truck. He drives around an abandoned city that's covered in sand, and he's looking for shops that he hasn't searched yet. Then, his computer warns him of an upcoming sandstorm. He can see the storm racing in his direction, and he turns around his truck to go back to his shelter. He crushes rusting cars on his way back and gets to his shelter just in time. But his robot dog is still in the truck, so he has to drag the robot back to his shelter in the storm. After this, he washes his suit and even cleans the sand off his robot. The guy is a software engineer, and his name is Finch. He has built this AI dog named Dewey himself. Finch is malnourished because of the lack of food, and he also appears to be sick. Inside the shelter, he has also a real dog named Goodyear. The dog is a genius, and he keeps Finch company alongside Dewey. Finch spends his time working on a robot and uses data from multiple books to give his robot intelligence. He's sick, and he reads about the effects of radiation on the human body. The very next day, he finishes up work on his robot. He takes Dewey's lenses and puts them into the robot's eyes. He then asks the robot to say yes, but the speaker doesn't work, so he asks it to nod for him, and after a few seconds, the robot starts nodding. Finch is overjoyed, and he confirms that the robot responds. He then tweaks the speakers and commands the robot to say something. The robot makes strange noises, but then says something. Finch is over the moon at this point. He asks the robot to share something about himself. The robot explains that it can never let a human being get harmed in front of him. He also tells Finch that his primary function is to take care of Goodyear. Right then, the electricity goes out. Finch gets the backup power on, and the robot again starts speaking, but it spooks the dog. On the other hand, Finch checks on his wind turbines when he sees a giant storm approaching. He quickly goes down and asks the robot to use his data from a weather station to predict the storm. The robot explains that this superstorm will hit them in 24 hours, and it will persist for 40 days. Finch knows that if they stay in the shelter, they will die of hunger or because of the storm. He quickly starts preparing everything for departure. He claims that according to the weather patterns, they can't go north or south. East is also out of the question because he wants to avoid people. So the only place they can go is west, and he wants to go to San Francisco. He also attaches the robot to its full body. He then uses the imitation technique to teach the robot how to take steps and walk. The robot falls a few times but learns to walk and even run. Finch gets his RV ready and puts new lenses into Dewey's eyes. He gets everyone on the RV, and they take off to avoid the storm. The robot constantly asks Finch questions about what happened to the cities, but Finch tells him to wait. As they pass by a desert, Finch tells him that the desert was once covered with wildflowers and bees. They eventually stop in a small town, and Finch is fixing something on the robot's head. The robot asks Finch about the origin of all his postcards. Finch claims that an uncle sent them. After fixing the robot, Finch takes it outside to salvage anything useful. He has to wear a radiation suit because the UV radiation level is very high, and it's scorching outside. He teaches the robot to check buildings that are still locked. The robot even helps Finch in breaking a cinema door. Inside, they find a popcorn packet. So Finch uses a hot garbage can cover to cook popcorn, and the robot is extremely amused by it. That's when Finch sees a giant storm heading their way. He tries to get away from it by driving through mountains, but the computer gives him a tornado warning. So Finch stops the RV and asks the robot to help him tie up the RV. Finch is not fine, and he's too tired to hammer the hooks into the ground, but the robot helps him. He asks Finch to go in and then attaches the last hook. Finch gets the RV ready for a tornado that's coming their way. As soon as the robot gets in, Finch closes the door and sits down. The tornado hits the RV, a few cables break because of the air pressure, and the RV gets off the ground. However, a couple of cables save the RV from being flown away by the tornado. After the tornado moves away, Finch gets out. He is looking at the damage and sees that the RV has a flat tire. He has a spare tire, but there isn't a jack. However, as Finch curses himself for forgetting the jack, the robot lifts the RV by its hands. Finch happily replaces the tire and tells the robot that it should have a name. He suggests Jack as the name, but the robot says that Jack is a tool's name. He wants names like Shakespeare or Napoleon, but Finch tells him to pick a short name. So the robot picks Jeff, and Finch says he'll be treated like a human whose name is Jeff from today. The next morning, Finch wakes up after hearing Goodyear barking at Jeff. Jeff is sad that the dog doesn't like him, and Finch explains that the dog doesn't trust him yet. He tells Jeff a story about his life as an engineer. The story explains how trust is when you depend on others. They are driving along when suddenly Finch starts coughing up blood. He stops the RV in front of an abandoned diner and goes in. He is extremely sick, and he takes the dog inside with him to rest for a while. He's pretending to order a meal with Goodyear when he sees the RV moving. He runs outside and the RV stops. Jeff comes outside and lies that the RV was moving all by itself. Finch laughs at Jeff's childness and asks him to bring the protective suit to him. But Jeff again brings the RV back by driving it like a madman. At this point, Finch gets upset at Jeff and shows him how the UV rays burn the skin of living organisms. He tells Jeff that his only job is to take care of the dog after Finch is gone. Later, when they're driving along, Jeff is moping around in the back, so Finch tells Goodyear that they will have to teach Jeff driving. Jeff is ecstatic to learn, but he swerves and accelerates erratically while driving. Finch guides him and gives him tips. Pretty soon, Jeff can drive properly, and he calls himself the world's greatest apprentice. That night, they are sitting by the fire when Jeff notices the aurora in the sky. Finch explains how a solar flare burnt off the ozone layer some years ago. The UV rays of the sun created superstorms and burnt every living thing alive, but it also made aurora available worldwide. Soon, Finch has to go back into the RV as he's feeling sick, but Jeff stays outside. In the morning, he hears a commotion inside the RV, and there he finds Finch throwing up. Finch is extremely sick, and Jeff wets his forehead to lower his fever. He then drives the RV while Finch rests. When they reach a city, Jeff takes Dewey outside to salvage food and medicine. They enter a building and it looks to be inhabited by someone. He goes to the upper floors while Dewey searches the bottom floor. Dewey sees a food box, but when he tries to pick it up, he gets trapped and destroyed. Meanwhile, Finch wakes up and knows that they are in danger. He goes inside the building and finds Dewey's remains. He then goes upstairs to find Jeff, who's stealing some canned food. Finch takes him back to the RV, and his heartbeat is through the roof because of the stress. He gets in and asks Jeff to drive them away. He's furious at Jeff for causing Dewey's departure. While they're getting out, a car starts chasing them. Finch loads his gun and passes out in the driving seat. When he wakes up, it's nighttime, and some vehicle is following them. Finch turns off their lights and drives the RV off the road and rams into an underpass. He wants to hide the RV, so Jeff pushes it inside the underpass. Moments later, the other vehicle stops on top of the underpass and leaves when they don't spot the RV. After this, Finch comes out to see the damage inflicted on the RV. He says that they are done, and he's too sick to take them to San Francisco. But Jeff takes him inside because it's starting to rain. That night, Finch tells Jeff about the incident where he saw a mother and her daughter die at the hands of a hungry man. Jeff explains that people destroyed humanity after the solar flare hit because they couldn't share the food with each other. He also tells Jeff that he found Goodyear inside the backpack of the dead girl. The next morning, Finch is sleeping and Jeff is driving when suddenly a butterfly hits their windshield. Jeff stops and asks Finch to get up and see this. Finch sees greenery around the road, and even the computer says that the UV levels are low. Finch gets out without his suit, and the sun doesn't burn his skin. He suddenly spots a butterfly that sits on his hand. He doesn't know how the environment is still bearable in this place, but they decide to stop here. Finch wears his best suit and has a good meal while they enjoy the sun. Jeff tells him that he had a dream where he saw the three of them on top of the Golden Gate Bridge. Finch is surprised at how quickly Jeff is learning and developing. Jeff also tells Finch that he saw the postcard was sent by Finch's dad. So Finch explains how his father was an engineer and he sent him this postcard. Finch decided to visit his dad in San Francisco and visit different parts of the world, but he could never find the time to do so. He regrets that he hasn't done enough with the time that he had. Jeff tells him that he can go around the world right now, but Finch says he's dying. He wants Jeff to take care of Goodyear after his death. When the dog brings a ball, and Finch teaches Jeff how to play with Goodyear by throwing the ball. He is happy to see Jeff getting good at handling Goodyear when suddenly he starts coughing blood. He goes inside the RV, but before he gets in, he tells Jeff that he will be a good caretaker for the dog. That evening, as Jeff waits outside, Goodyear sits by Finch's bed. When Finch passes away, Jeff even gives him a funeral. The next day, he's sitting with Goodyear, and he doesn't know what to do. He uses the can opener in his body to open the can of dog food. He's losing hope when suddenly, Goodyear brings the ball to him. At this moment, Jeff realizes that he has to do something for their survival, so he takes Goodyear and starts driving to San Francisco. The atmosphere is friendly there, and Jeff places a plank with the names of all three of them near the Golden Gate Bridge. When he goes to the bridge, he sees pictures of many people on the bridge fence. There are even letters where people have left their locations, so Jeff leaves the postcard there and goes to find other people. The film ends with Jeff and Goodyear walking on the bridge as Jeff starts telling his story. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed it. Please let us know which is your favorite part of the film, and then be sure to check out the next one.